Okay, what's up, everybody? Good morning. Welcome to a Sunday edition of Morning Scone, presented by Brock, the Baton Rouge Orthopedic Clinic, Parrish Construction and Roofing. If you need an orthopedist, you go to Brock. They're the best. And if you need a roof, you give us a shout at Parrish Construction and Roofing. Uh, Awful weather throughout much of the greater Baton Rouge area and beyond yesterday. Hail everywhere. Confirmed hail on Bluebonnet and Denham all over. So if you had hail, please highly recommend let us come give you a free no obligation roofing inspection. Parishbuilt.com. Parish is pinned in the chat as well. All right. We'll say some good mornings here and get to it. We're an hour away, hour and 2 minutes away from first pitch of LSU and Wofford. Tiger season on the brink here as LSU falls to North Carolina 6-2. I don't know that we need to spend a ton of time on that game because Tigers have a giant road ahead of them here. They've got to beat Wofford here at 11. Should they win, they'd come back this evening and play North Carolina in another elimination game. If they lose, their season would be over. If they win, they'd force the deciding regional game on Monday. So a tough road to hoe for the LSU baseball team, as we've talked about all year. With two legit starting pitchers, your path was there if you could find your way through the winner's bracket, and Tigers just couldn't get the clutch hit against against North Carolina. So a couple of things just about the game really quickly. It was, first of all, I think Luke Holman was awesome. Like, we got to first start there. Holman gave you 6 2/3, struck out 11, walked just 1, only allowed 7 hits. He and the 4 runs, of course, the 4 runs were all off the bat of Honeycutt. And look, Vance Honeycutt's a great player. I think you watch the broadcast, they continue to tell you that over and over again. He's going to be a first-round pick, and among the all-time leaders in homers for the history of the ACC. And that 5th inning was so frustrating because they got on base with a bunt single. I mean, Holman was controlling them so much, and it was essentially just get on however you can. So they bunt single, and yes, I'm okay bunting for a hit. Bunting for a hit or to score a run, I always say it's fine. I'm never okay to bunt to advance a runner. You don't give up an out to advance a runner. You're getting on base, yes, get on base by any means necessary. But it was a bunt single, and then the liner that Wilkerson hit to Jones at first hit Jones's glove. I mean, like, if Jones catches that ball, he steps on first, it's a double play, and Honeycutt's up with 2 out and nobody on. Instead, it goes off of Jones's glove, goes down as a double, so second and third for Honeycutt. And Holman, for the life of me, I can't understand why he grooved him a fastball. That was, I mean, just grooved him a fastball. And a really good fastball hitter didn't miss it. So you're down 3-0. And the next AB went to Honeycutt. Instead of going fastball, naturally, you're going to go off speed because the last time you served him up a fastball, he hit a ball that hadn't landed yet. And so they throw him a breaking ball, which is fine to throw him a breaking ball, but you don't hang a breaking ball over the plate. I mean, Holman made 2 bad pitches all day. And it was to their best hitter, and he crushed them both. I don't know that I could say that I think Holman definitively made another bad pitch. He was awesome. Went 6 2/3, over 100 pitches, struck out 11, really gave you a chance to win that game. And even still, if the offense had come through amid their many, many opportunities to come through, we wouldn't even be talking about this. But you just managed the 2 runs on bases loaded walks in the 7th. But 3 times you had runners in scoring position and ended up in double plays. Once in the 2nd with the absurd interference call, and then in the 5th when Tommy White swung into a first pitch breaking ball which was an inexcusable swing. Tommy White's a great player, but I think everybody knows even his projectability, his chase rate is the thing that is his biggest red flag. I love aggressiveness. You love aggressiveness when it works out, but you want a controlled aggression. And I mean, they lifted Sprague. They lifted Sprague for Ben Peterson, and it was the first pitch that Ben Peterson threw. He threw a breaking ball to Tommy White. I mean, I don't care if it's the most beautiful breaking ball ever. It's a new pitcher. You haven't seen his breaking ball. It's a key point in the game. At least make this guy show you what he's got. And White just rolled over one to short and grounded into double play. And then Travinsky, same thing with the bases loaded in the seventh. Just, those are guys that you would love to have up in those spots to come through for you, and they just didn't. So you had your opportunities, but in the end, you fall. So you got to play Wofford today. We'll talk plenty about it, what LSU has in the tank for Wofford. Let me see. Game time's an hour away. Let me see if they've announced a starter yet. I mean, we haven't seen Ackenhausen yet. Your best pitcher available certainly is Griffin Herring, and you're facing elimination, so it's not like a typical thought with how you'd approach this day. I'm trying to see real quick. One of y'all may have it already. I don't know that they've named. I don't know that they've named their starter yet publicly. If anybody's seen it, let me know. Candidly, last night. I was at our UFC 302 watch party over at LeBear's. By the way, thanks to everybody who came. It was packed. I mean, that is a gigantic square footage area in that sportsbook over at LeBear's, and it was packed. So fight almost went the distance. Poirier was submitted with about 2 minutes to go in round 5, but and that might be it for his career. He might be retiring. I think that probably in his mind was it for Dustin Poirier. But thanks to everybody who came out. So anyway, all that to say, the game ended. I watched the final out at LeBear's, and then we went right into UFC 302, got home after midnight, and then slept, woke up, and now got Drew ready. I'm doing the show. So, okay, let's say some good mornings. Damon Gilmore, good morning. Apollo Balboa, the unofficial beginning of football season. Not yet, brother. We got another day of baseball. Let's see how it goes. Kelly Gross, Jesse Brown, good morning. How does this team get out of the bracket with the pitching they have? So, yeah, Jesse, you're going to have something extraordinary happen. So just like what happened last year in Omaha, remember you got dominant outings and length from two pitchers you were not expecting it from, Nate Ackenhausen and Griffin Herring. Oddly, those are two guys you're probably counting on today to do the exact same thing. So, when Ackenhausen pitched against Tennessee, and I mean, I want to go look up his line again, but remember, after you lost to Wake, you had to come back and beat Tennessee, and then beat Wake twice. But Nate Ackenhausen a year ago was not a guy that ever really extended for you, and he came in that game and gave you 6 innings of 4-hit shutout ball, struck out 7. Okay. Like that wasn't what Nate gave you. That wasn't his MO. Right. But you got that great outing from Ackenhausen. I'm trying to pull up real quick last year's. Drew's pump's beeping again. I don't know if y'all can hear it. So Ackenhausen last year, the 6 innings against Tennessee. Wait. Hi, buddy. Hey, you need to not lay down. Okay, you got to sit up, because when you lay down, it's when all this starts to beep. So I need you to sit up when you're in there. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Okay. You want to say hi to Dad Show? No. Just say hi. Hi. Say hi, Dad Show. Hi, Dad Show. Okay, off you go. No. Now iPad. Okay. Yeah. So again, to illustrate the point. So last year, Ackenhausen gave you 6 in that College World Series game against Tennessee. His previous long outing, he gave you 3 2/3 in relief against South Carolina. And then all the way back in February, he gave you 3 1/3 against Western Michigan and 3 1/3 at Texas. That was it. So his long outing was 3 2/3. Only 3 times all year had he gone 3 innings. He gave you 6 shutout innings in Omaha against Tennessee. Like, that's when I talk about, like, you need some type of outlier. That's what I'm talking about. Then when you came back and you beat Wake 5-2, you started Coleman. Remember, Coleman wanted the ball. Well, Coleman didn't get out of the second. And then Money got you through that inning. Then brought in Herring, and Herring gave you 4 2/3 of shutout baseball. Struck out 6, no runs on 3 hits, and that gave your offense time to get back, and you ended up winning that game. So that's my point. Like, how do you get through this? You're going to need something just extraordinary from a couple of guys. Like, maybe Ackenhausen starts today, and you need him to go give you 6, and you need your bats to show up in a big way so you could save everybody else. And then tonight, when you come back against UNC, maybe you need Herring to give you 5. And then if you get to tomorrow, then maybe it's Thatcher Hurd who takes the ball, and you need Thatcher Hurd to look like Thatcher Hurd did against Florida last year in the championship game. You're just going to have to get performances in 3 consecutive games that you haven't gotten yet this season. So it's not to say it can't happen, because it happened last year. Now, that was also a team that was pretty stinking awesome. You know what I mean? And they could hit, and they had Skeens. They should have get back to him, and they did in that game against Wake Forest with Louder. And anyway. All right. Rex, Bradley, good morning, y'all. Randall, good morning. Not writing the talk. Tigers off just yet. UNC isn't a great team that can't be beaten. Well, North Carolina hasn't lost 2 in a row at home all year. So if you beat Wofford, you're going to have to, again, do something that hasn't been done all year. James, good morning. Man, that was a difficult loss. I see us winning 1 game today. Unfortunately, that's it. Extremely difficult to win 2 today and 1 tomorrow. Stacy, good morning. Hoping for doubleheader win in baseball. Amen. Got to win the first one. So you can go beat Wofford here at 11. What a bad sports day yesterday. Poirier looked gassed the whole fight. Well, the first round, when Makachev had Poirier in a body triangle and just squeezed the life out of him, he spent the whole round trying not to get submitted. I'd say that took a lot out of you. But Dustin came back, man, and he did damage. He didn't win that fight, but he did damage for sure. That elbow opened up Makachev right here, and it was something to behold. Dude went to the hospital after the fight. You better believe that. Jacob Sonier, 2 comments. Can we let Brady Neal swing back for Hayden today? And I don't think you have a choice but to let Chase Shores pitch today. I don't even think Chase Shores is on the postseason roster, brother. Cortland, LSU's offense has to figure it out. This isn't a and I told you so, but it's just worth mentioning. When LSU's offense was getting going last week in the SC tournament, one of the things we talked about here was, yes, but it's fair to mention you were also facing bullpen days. Georgia, Kentucky, South Carolina, the first 3 games of that tournament, you were facing bullpen days. You didn't face a weekend guy in those days. So, the last 2 days, you faced much better pitching, and you tip your hat. You've had your opportunities, but you haven't been able to find the timely hit. As far as Travinsky, in what could be the last game of his career, I'm gonna put Travinsky out there today. And Stravinsky did smoke a ball yesterday. I think it was in the I guess it had to be the 4th. He smoked a ball to third base. And Gallagher made a great play. So I'd feel differently if Travinsky was 0 for 4 with 3 strikeouts. But but he hit the ball. The double play was awful. In a huge spot, but same with Tommy White. James Allen, morning. It's destiny. At gets the ball for the morning game, and Thatcher Hurd dominates tonight, and they play Monday. Maybe so, James. Maybe so. They're going to need that. And then if you get to Monday, you figure out Monday when you get there. Austin, good morning. Very disappointing. Hitting into double plays, missing plays in the field, floating balls over the play for their best hitter. I expected more from the team. I mean, Luke Holman was awesome yesterday. And again, yes, he made he grew Vance Honeycutt a fastball. He crushed it. Next AB said, not going to throw you a fastball, but he hung a breaking ball and he crushed it. So, but even still, man, in the fifth, bunt single and then a liner at Jones that Jones can't come up with, hits him in the glove and goes into right field for a double. I mean, that would have been catch the ball, step on first. There's nobody on and 2 out for Honeycutt. Instead, it was 2 on for Honeycutt and you grew him the fastball. But yes, the lack of timely hit, the call, the call in the second inning was atrocious. The interference call on Milazzo sliding into second. It was an atrocious call. And it's really disappointing because you never know what might happen in a game, because in that moment you would have been first and third with your lineup turning over for Braswell. And maybe in the second inning you break through and maybe that causes them to chase Sprague earlier in the game. Who knows? But that was an atrocious call. And I'm not saying it's why you lost, but it certainly changed the sequencing of the game. Maybe Braswell comes up first and third and strikes out. He struck out in his first AB. But anyway. Patrick Burgle asks, good morning. Jason H. Raining, but it's not rainy here. Sunny and beautiful here. It was rainy last night. Again, if y'all got roof issues, give us a shout. Parish Construction and Roofing, parishbuilt.com, parishbuilt.com. Oh, I'm shocked. Here's Anthony. I'm officially tapped out, not watching today. Good. See you, Anthony. Never a surprise. Tigers roll, make it to the championship of the SC tournament. We don't hear from Anthony. They finally lose a game in regional. Here's Anthony. I'm tapped out. They stink. Good riddance. Get out of here. Zach, the most negative fan, the most glass half full fan I've ever seen. Like it's so abundantly obvious with that guy, like when he will show up and what he will say. It's almost like it's a bit. Zachary, still understand the interference on Milazzo. It was an absolutely atrocious call. Like, and it's one thing for LSU fans to say it when the broadcasters are saying the same thing. The neutral broadcasters who have no affiliation to either school are saying, well, this will get overturned. It's an ump show is what it is. And when Jay, if you go back and watch it, when Jay went out to challenge the call, he was so sarcastic. I wish this was nightcap so I could curse, because I would use the S word and end it with Y, if you know what I mean, with TY, with the umpire. Because if you go read Jay's lips, he's like, the umpire was like, do you want to challenge? He goes, what do you think? Of course I want to challenge. What do you think? Like, you could read his lips. That's what he was saying. So, I mean, they almost ran him for that. But and so I just believe that's what happened. Like, Jay was not forthcoming with them. And so they're like, all right, we're going to stick it to you. Don't tell me umps don't do that. Of course they do that. So Angel Hernandez call a strike 3 on a ball that bounced just to prove a point to a hitter. I mean, yeah, of course that's what that was. Tom, good morning. Tiger Diver, who are we going to pitch today? Let me find out. Oh. Let me see if I can find out. Um, Sorry, y'all. Okay. Not sure. Sorry. If Jones manages to catch that line or still play, yeah. John Hendricks. Good morning, John. Good to see you last night. John came out and won an autographed pair of Dustin Poirier UFC gloves. Pays to come out. Joel, that's the way it looked all year when we played good teams. Lack of offense was always going to limit this team. In fairness, like Joel, that's what happens when you face good pitching. Like you don't see 11 to 10 games. It's games like that. And it's who can come up with the crooked number in the big spot. And their best hitter cranked a 3-run homer, and LSU's best hitter rolled into a double play. I mean, who else would you want to play in that spot other than Tommy White? Bases loaded, 1 out, Tommy White's up. Tell me anybody on the lineup you'd rather have up in that spot? Their guy hit a 3-run homer, your guy rolled into a double play. Will, what's going on? Guy, good morning. Coaching decisions with pinch hitters, I didn't mind. I mean, the only one really was they pinch hit for Pearson with Fry, and I get what he was doing there. They brought in a lefty. You brought in Fry to have a righty-lefty matchup, and Fry's a big bat with tons of pop, and you think he might run into one. And ultimately, he ended up having a great at-bat and they walked in a run. So I don't have a problem with that. I don't think there was another pinch hitter because after that, they pinch ran and with Kling, and Kling went to center. Yeah. Brown went to right, and Larson went to left. Yeah, that was the only pinch hit. I don't have a problem with that. Let's see. Will Hildebrand, 2-team money line, LSU in South Carolina. Okay, good luck, man. Robert Mason, good morning. Can't wait to hear some news this week about football. Yeah, usually when you get weekends like this, you usually pop a commit, so we'll see how it goes. Jude, what's going on, man? Good morning. It's not football season. They're not done yet. Let's see how today plays out. Clifford Moore, the runner interference call was horrific. It was. Still have to beat Carolina after beating Wofford, Carolina today. Yes, Brambo. If you win this morning, you'll have to come back tonight and beat Carolina. If you win that game, you'll have to beat Carolina again tomorrow. Yeah, who do you think takes the mound first today? I would guess Ackenhausen. Veteran guy, was really sharp last weekend against Tennessee in the SC Tournament Championship game. Season on the line, you have to give the ball to someone right today. Like, for me, it's either Ackenhausen or it's Herring. I mean, those are the two guys available that have been your best, most consistent guys. That's who I'm starting. And then we'll see what happens tonight. If it's, I think, you don't even think about tonight or tomorrow yet, because that doesn't matter if you don't win today at 11. So you hope you bring out, your bats show up, and you hope your bats show up, and you give the ball to Ackenhausen, say today, and see how it goes. And if the bats show up and Ackenhausen gives you length, then you plan for tonight accordingly. And hopefully you go score 15 runs in this game against Wofford, and you can throw anybody, right, to get home. And then tonight you could sort of reassess. And then maybe it's Hurd, Herring, Lore. You have guys that you could really count on. As far as what Wofford may do, so Zach Cohen threw yesterday against Long Island and gave him 6 innings. So their best guy would certainly be done. I'm looking at other guys who have started for them. I mean, you faced Brant Little the other day. He had started 5 times on the year. They've used, I guess you'd face Camden Wicker. I think this is who you're going to face today, because you already saw Brant Little, Zach Cohen through yesterday. So Camden Wicker is who I'm thinking you'll see. He started 9 times on the year, 16 appearances. He would probably be the guy. A 4.14 ERA, 71 and 2/3 innings pitched. He struck out 51 with 24 walks and 71 in 2/3 innings pitched. So this is not a strikeout pitcher. So he's going to put it over the plate. Don't miss it. Let's see. Black Connection. Let's not get sent home by Wofford. Amen, man. Guy Brooks. I wish Tommy White would take a few pitches. Guy, listen, here's the thing. We all understand that Tommy White, his chase rate is his one red flag. If you look at any scouting report for the draft on Tommy White, they will talk about chase. Let me not just say that. Hang on. Kylie McDaniel literally put out this week from ESPN his first mock draft, and Tommy White he had in round 1 going to Philly at 27. Here you go. If you're a college baseball fan, you may be confused why White lasted this long. He has a couple of potential landing spots in the top 20, but most scouting director thinks he goes somewhere around here. He's a fine but not great defender at third base and still has chase rates that are much worse than average despite being super productive in college. So that's the knock on Tommy White. That's not like me saying it. It's like that's the scouting opinion of Tommy White is his chase rate is high. The thing about Tommy White, though, that you do like is, if I go back throughout his career and see how many first pitch homers has he hit, I bet it's a big pile, because he is aggressive and he's hunting a good pitch. And he knows sometimes pitchers try to work ahead of him. And so if you're going to throw him one over the plate on the first pitch of the AB, that may be the best pitch he sees. And if that's the best pitch he's going to see in the AB, swing and don't miss. So he's a great 2-strike hitter, which is why he can be aggressive early in the count. If he misses and fouls something off, he can come back from it. 2 bad pitches. Your offense didn't get it done. People are going to cry about the late pitching decisions. Oh, it was completely the right decision, Cortland. I'm with you on that. Like, once you were down, when you were down, there was no way you were going to, it was the same thing against Wofford. There was, I tweeted in the 8th when Jones homered to tie the game, get Herring up. Because only when the game was tied, then do you go get Herring up. If you're losing, of course you're not burning your best arm. You're down in North Carolina. You're not burning any of your best arms while you're down. 100% that was the right decision to go Helmers and Moffitt and Dutton and whatever. The final score was elementary at that point. It didn't matter. You were, the probability of you winning was slim, and you weren't going to go burn. If that was an elimination game, then yes, you're going to throw your best, try to keep the deficit where it was. But understanding your probability of coming back is low, and you have to then potentially play 3 games in 2 days after this. No, that was 100% the right decision. All right. Please smash the like button if you would. 368 watching live. Subscribe up to the channel if you're new. We're about 33 minutes away from first pitch here with LSU and Wofford elimination game. Hey, Dad. Good morning. Lou, LSU back to living and dying off how 2 people bat in the lineup. Big Mill, I hate umps. Matt, what would you bet on if you were me? Hey, babe, I don't know if that's done. It may just have to be primed. Let's see. LSU money line over under 12.5. LSU 3.5 on the run. LSU's 3.5 on the run line. Man, it's not knowing who they're going to pitch. Let's see if they posted the lineup yet. I mean, I don't feel good about any of that, Matt, to be honest with you. I'd probably take under 12.5. If I was going to play something on that, I would take under 12.5. Reed Rule Morning Scone, Travinsky and Pearson's offensive regression killed us last night. Now we have to go 3-0. I imagine one of those games will have to be heard. Well, yes, if you get there. My guess, and again, I do not know, I'm guessing, and I even just texted somebody to see who they're starting, and this person happened to be on a plane today, and so right now, so was that another regional? I didn't know. So anyway, so I would say, again, I'm guessing. I think you start Ackenhausen, and if you're able to get through this game with Ackenhausen and whoever behind him, right? Let's say it's Ulloa, Lore, whoever. You'd come back tonight against North Carolina and probably start Hurd on a short leash and follow him with Herring. Or you start Griffin Herring and say go as long as you can, and whenever you run out of gas, we'll see who's next. And then potentially, if you get to Monday, Hurd would be your guy. I think that's also how they could handle it. I guess think of it this way. Let's say you beat Wofford and Ackenhausen starts and it goes the way we just said. Could you really justify having, if you don't start Herring tonight, could you justify having your season end without Herring having an opportunity to extend your season? That would be my point. Scott Beckham, too many left in scoring position, didn't get good hits. Yep. Chaden Burrow, morning. Today we'll see whether their heart pumps Kool-Aid or battle juice. Gulf South, letting Holman face Honeycutt for a fourth time after 107 pitches thrown was one of Jay Johnson's worst pitching decisions since he got to LSU. I don't disagree. But at the same time, Holman got up 0-2 on Honeycutt in that AB. And then he hung him a breaking ball. I mean, he got you 2 outs and was like, his velo was still there. I mean, I was thinking the same thing, but like, velo was there. He got you 2 outs. I know the lineup turned over, and he was 0-2 in the count on him, and then he hung him a breaking ball. And I don't think that was the pitch they wanted. I think probably wanted that to bounce that on his back foot, if I had to guess. Brambo, if we want to put Kling into bat over number 44 at the moment, is too big for the freshman. Talking about Ashton Larson. I don't know. Larson is Larson's part of the everyday lineup, and I think he's going to be in there. And Larson, I mean, just missed a homer yesterday to right center. So I don't have a problem having Larson in there. Larson did have another oopsie moment in right field on the double that went off the wall where he just misplayed the wall. But again, that was at a point in the game where you were down 2, and that's what compounded the inning. But anyway, Bubba, good morning. Cortland, Joseph, Earl, we need her. Well, you're probably going to see her if you get to a third game. Yes, Hurd's going to have to play a big role in this. Let's see. With our pitching, not too confident about getting out of this regional. Hope for the best. Yeah, I mean, listen, it's really, really difficult to come out of a loser's bracket in a 4-team regional because you're effectively going to have to win 3 games in 2 days after already having played twice. And so now you've burned your two biggest bullets in Jump and Holman. And so now you have to win 3 games in 2 days without your 2 best pitchers. So yeah, I mean, the odds are against that. We've seen that happen before. I mean, it happened against LSU back in 2014. LSU won the marble game against Houston. Houston came back and won the elimination game and then beat LSU twice. So it's happened. It's not common, but it happens. And it's what LSU's got to do if they're going to advance. And by the way, Arizona got eliminated. And so if you manage to get out of this regional, you're hosting a super next weekend. So it's a tough climb, and none of the rest matters if you don't win in 27 minutes from right now against Wofford. So, we'll see if the Tigers can get out there and get it done against Wofford here at 11. But okay, it is Ackenhausen. Lineups posted, so here you go. Tommy White leading off. I guess that makes sense. Oh God, he's changing the whole lineup. Oh God. Okay, here you go. Mila moves up to the 2. I guess, look, if you're trying to stack the top of your lineup to make sure these guys get as many ABs as possible, but this feels like a gross overreaction. White, Milam, Jones, Pearson, Braswell, Larson, Travinsky, Brown, Milazzo. There's your 1 through 9, and Nate Ackenhausen is starting. So White leads off, Milam up to the 2-hole. Jared Jones stays in the 3-hole. Pearson stays in the 4-hole. Braswell drops to the 5 spot. Larson there 6th. Travinsky drops down to the 7-hole. Hopefully dropping Travinsky down a smidge. Maybe takes a little pressure off of him. So then Travinsky, Brown, Milazzo. Brown in center. I don't hate. And obviously you want Milazzo behind the plate today and Ackenhausen pitching, which what we thought would happen. So, a week ago in the SEC tournament, when Ackenhausen pitched, it was set. You were only letting him through the lineup one time because you had to make sure that he was available to give you length and, available for the regional. You were not going to extend him too far. And that's not the case today. I mean, this is your season. So you let him go for as long as he is effective, and hopefully it is deep, deep, deep into this ballgame. All right. Let's see. Shane, that's a lot of lineup changes. Yeah, I mean, most notable, obviously, White goes to the 1-hole. You drop Braswell down to 5. You move Milam up to the 2-hole. Travinsky drops. Let's see. Rick Beloso did lead off the NC game last year. Bobo, Barbecue, and DIY. LSU outfielders have not been productive this year. Okay. Let's see. Cortland, he's alternating left and right. Well, you got White, who's a righty. Milam's a switch hitter. I guess it depends who. We don't know who. If it is Camden Wicker, Camden Wicker's a righty, so that means Milam would bat from the left side. Jones, Pearson, Braswell, Larson, Travinsky, Brown, Milazzo. Alternating left, he is doing that. I don't know if that was the intention here as much as it was to make sure that White and Milam got more ABs. I'd be interested to know that, Cortland. If and we know Jay does that. He will alternate left and right in his lineup. But I think bumping Travinsky down was a big part of that as well. So who gives Pearson some protection? Well, Braswell has been effective. So Braswell in the 5-hole makes sense. See how it goes. ESPN broadcast, by the way. Carl Wofford, pitcher, is the number 2 guy. Well, yes. It's their 2 weekend starters have been Zach Cohen and then Camden Wicker. And again, let me see if I can find Wofford's lineup. I'm guessing Camden Wicker is going to pitch. He hadn't pitched yet in this regional, and he's their number 2 guy. So that would be my guess. Wofford baseball. There we go. Here you go, Wofford, and it is Camden Wicker. So Camden Wicker's going for Walker. So, Tool, Black, Martinez, Jackson, Wiley, Hare, Manning, Manley, and Renwick. Just seeing what stands out from the other day. And then Camden Wicker is on the bump. So mean, Wicker is their number 2 guy, and you're going with Ackenhausen. So you're going kind of bullpen approach. But, I mean, we'll see. Again, Wicker, if you're just joining us, Wofford's pitcher, 4.14 ERA, 71 and 2/3 innings pitched. Not a big strikeout guy. 51 strikeouts and 24 walks in a 71 and 2/3 innings pitched. So just 51 strikeouts and 71 and 2/3 innings pitched. He's going to throw it over the plate. So got to hit it. All right, please smash the like button if you would. Subscribe up to the channel if you're new. Facebook, like the Matt Scone page, share the post. Always shout out to Brock. Got our info below about our great sponsors on the scroll. Brock, the Baton Rouge Orthopedic Clinic, locations all over Greater Baton Rouge area. Of course, Parrish Construction and Roofing. Hail all over the place yesterday. If you had hail at your home, chances are you had roof damage. Let us come give you that free, no obligation roofing inspection. We'll spot the hail damage. We'll help you file an insurance claim. We'll meet your adjuster. We'll handle everything start to finish. Like, you don't do anything. You pay your deductible and you'll get a new roof. So let us help you out. Parrishbuilt.com, parrishbuilt.com. Of course, if you got pain, Crystal Poche at Restored Motions, restoredmotions.com. Okay. Let's see. Let's see. All right. Reed, I have to think Neal will start a game or at least sub in a lot. Can't have Milazzo catching 27 innings. You might. I mean, this is the end of Milazzo's career. You're going to tell him we're sitting you for a day, for a game, for what? To get you rested for what? For not playing for the rest of the year? I mean, this is it. Colin, do you think they should have moved Pearson down the lineup? Who do you put in the 4 hole? All right, move him down the lineup, and what do? You want Braswell back and clean up? I mean, Cortland pointed out the lefty-righty. I mean, that's probably why they went Pearson Braswell, to keep lefty-righty going. I don't know why y'all are pointing out Beloso leading off the national championship game last year. I mean, sometimes it works. You make lineup changes in those moments. It works. And it was great for Beloso. And then, I mean, shoot, I remember in the championship game against Texas in 2009, Paul Maneri on a hunch started Sean Ochinko, and Ochinko had a monster game. Like, sometimes against that team, you have a hunch about a guy and you roll with him. So, let's see. How about this? This is a good one. Prods up. Can you say happy birthday to my mom, Maria? She's 87 and an LSU sports fan. Well, Maria, you have seen a lot of ups and downs in 87 years. And cheers to you and happy birthday. Let's hope the Tigers give you something to cheer about twice today. This morning against Wofford and then hopefully tonight against North Carolina. So cheers to you, Mama Maria. Happy 87th. Hope it's a great one. Leslie Martin. Carl, we need to hit our way through. Don't have enough pitching left. We'll see. You're just going to have to, again, you're going to have to get something unconventional, extraordinary. Like, you're going to have to get what you got. I mean, if you're just joining us, we talked about it at the beginning of the show. Last year in the College World Series, Ackenhausen, his longest outing of the year, had been 3 2/3. He gave you 6 shutout innings against Tennessee in elimination game. In the first elimination game against Wake, you started Coleman, who didn't get out of the second. You gave the ball to Herring, who gave you 4 2/3 scoreless innings to give you the opportunity to get back in and win that game. Like, you're just going to need something like that today. Ackenhausen's going to have to give you length and be awesome. If you win, you get to tonight. Do you start Herring and say, get me as deep into this game as you can? Is it Hurd tonight? I don't know. If not, you managed to win twice. Do you pitch Hurd tomorrow? If so, you're going to need Hurd to be what he was against Florida last year in the championship. Go give me 6 innings and be nails, Let's see. Aaron Hornsby. Good. There you go. Prods up. Absolutely. Carl Ritter, how different is a regional comeback compared to what we had to do against A&M way back when? Is this going to be bigger than that? You're talking about 1989 when LSU beat A&M in College Station twice. That was a team that had lost 4 times all year, and LSU beat them twice in the same day. It's different because that was the old 6-team regional. It was just formatted differently, so I don't know that we compare it. I was the number 1 team in the country. Yeah, I was the number 1 team in the country in A&M, so but I don't know how to put context around something that happened, 35 years ago in a different format. Gulf South, Larson's missed catch and left. Not right. Larson had to go. No, I know. If I said right, my apologies. Cortland, if the intention was righty lefty, Pearson's your most experienced lefty. FY, that roof before hurricane comes through. Otherwise, your deductible is 10% of what your house is worth. It's a good point there by Go Tigers. Here's what I would say, and it actually varies based on your policy, but I would recommend check your policy for a named storm deductible and a wind hail deductible. Because if your wind hail deductible is lower than your named storm deductible, then it will cost you, it will obviously cost you less to replace your roof before a hurricane than if you wait until storm season. That's a very good point. But I would say check your deductible first. Check your policy first. Let's see. I'm just going quickly, y'all. We're where are we? 16 minutes away from first pitch. Ryan said gonna have to win at least 2 of these games 10-8 or something similar. Maybe. Or maybe Nate Ackenhausen goes out and gives you 6 shutout innings today. You know what I mean? Yesterday's MC pitcher wasn't a strikeout guy either. What's MC? Oh, NC, North Carolina pitcher. But if you read I posted Gulf South a scouting report on Shea Sprague, and his chase rate was at about 50% on his changeup. And he had a couple strikeouts early in the game on the changeup. But I thought LSU did a good job against Sprague. They just didn't. What I said, when he throws over the plate, don't miss it. Well, you had runners on base in the second, and you had one of the most bogus calls on an interference calls that I can imagine on a slide. And then in the 5th, obviously, you had Tommy White in there, who you had 2 on for White, and he rolled into a double play. Now, that was against the reliever. He was the first batter to face the reliever. But you put balls in play. They played great defense. Travinsky smoked one at third. You had another one smoked at first. Who hit that one? Brown. How about Brown's liner over the shortstop that they made a leaping catch on? But North Carolina played great defense yesterday. You hit a lot of balls hard yesterday. We're going to focus on the weak grounders by White and Travinsky in the double plays, but think about Travinsky's liner at third, the hard hit ball at first, Larson sending one to the alley that he just missed it, in right center. The Jake Brown ball I just mentioned, you hit a lot of balls hard yesterday. Credit North Carolina. They played great defense. You didn't. Yeah, I mean, Austin's right. LSU did in 21 polls last year. They won the Eugene regional out of the losers bracket, so it's happened. Joel, with the athletes LSU recruits, it's amazing the holes in the outfield, mediocre defense, and bats. I mean, what are we talking about, Joel? I mean, it's still a college baseball team. Somebody like Jake Brown's a freshman, true freshman. Ashton Larson, true freshman. You're leaning on true freshmen in massive spots. It's not going to be flawless and perfect. I mean, what are we talking about on here 13 minutes before LSU takes the field for what could be the last game of their season? Make that comment after the game, or don't make that comment at all. Like, you don't always like the holes in the outfield. I mean, what are we talking about? I mean, you want a great defensive outfield? Put Kling in the outfield. He's got a 415 on base percentage. I've talked about it all year, but all anybody focuses on the fact that he hits 220. Okay. He's also your best defensive outfielder, and his on base percentage is one of the top 3 or 4 on the team. But no, but I mean, what are we talking about? You got Larson and Brown out there playing as freshmen. Super optimistic about them in the future. I mean, and Pearson's a good outfielder and has had some pretty clutch at bats for you in his career. And what else? What else you want to do? And I wouldn't say mediocre defense. I mean, Kling and Brown are elite defensive outfielders. Bingham, I don't think has great speed, or Pearson, but Pearson's fine in left. And Larson, I think, has some growing up to do. But you have 2+ defenders in Kling and Brown. Akin old runners on, which is good. That's true. Going with the lefty. That's very true. Angela Perriman, yep. Go Tigers. Scotty Nero, yep. Okay, I'm just all this. Carl Ritter, so Ack as long as he can, then hurt. I don't think that's your. Carl, listen. I think the way, if you're Jay, you approach today with Ackenhausen is you let Ackenhausen go for as long as he's effective, and then you see where you are in the ball game. I don't think it's Ackenhausen then Hurd, or Ackenhausen then Herring, or Ackenhausen then anybody. I think it's what if Ackenhausen gets you. What if Ackenhausen can't get out of the second inning and they got the bases loaded? Well, then you're going to get Griffin Herring, because you're trying to save your season. What if Ackenhausen gives you 6 scoreless and you're up 8-0? Well, then you go get me. I mean, whatever, whoever. And if you get into trouble, then you start to get some of your guys up. But like the best thing LSU can do today is bring their bats and go bust the mess out of the ball. Because if you get some run support, it makes pitching decisions so much easier. So yeah, I mean, I don't think it's as cut and dry as saying Ackenhausen then Hurd. It's not planned out like that. It's situational. It's Ackenhausen for as long as he's effective. Then you see where you are in the game and make the decision then. Let's see. Colin Guidry, let's work that Tiger Magic today. Would love to see it, man. Cortland, any chance with the way he has improved, Braswell comes back? Cortland, I mean, I have had that conversation, and it wouldn't be about the way he improved, because remember, if Braswell comes back, he loses all leverage. But the bigger question is, does Braswell get drafted? And he may not. And so if you don't get drafted or you're picked late, there might be like an NIL opportunity that's significant enough to say, come back, play another year, and continue to refine your skills and give you a better shot once you are drafted. But that's really the question with Braswell. Like, I don't think it's a shoe-in in a shortened draft that he is taken. Certainly not in the top 10 rounds. Nick, would love to see Neil in the lineup. That's obviously not happening. We still spoiled from when Paul ran 3 center fielders out there. Yes. You know what, Cortland? It's a good point. It goes to show you the difference in how you build a team. I mean, Paul Maneri relied on pitching and defense. Jay is an offensive-minded coach. Jay will sacrifice defense for offense. Paul was the other way around. When you think about having, Stevenson, Laird, and Fraley in the same outfield, that's absurd. I mean, that is 3 center fielders. Like, nothing ever hit the ground unless it left the yard. Yes. Rick Kelly, does Kling return next year? Rick, I wouldn't be surprised if Kling hit the portal, quite honestly, because he needs to go somewhere where he's going to get 200 ABs and hit 300, and maybe doing that in the American or in Conference USA or something like that, or even in the ACC is more doable than week in, week out in the SEC at a place like LSU, where Jake Brown is probably your starting center. Let's just be honest. I mean, Jake Brown is going to be your starting center fielder next year, most likely. So does Kling come back and try to win a spot and rotate and be like the same role, or does he go somewhere where he's going to be the everyday center fielder and get 200 ABs? I think that's a real possibility. Cindy, thank you, Matt. Enjoyed watching the freshmen. They've been amazing. Chris, we have to beat Wofford and UNC without Holman. Going to be really hard. We can do it. Gulf South, this may sound crazy. I have more confidence in Milazzo getting a single than White coming through in the clutch. Milazzo has shown amazing back control. Like the most impressive thing about Milazzo, and I've told you all this before, I'm going to give obviously Alex a ton of credit because he's worked very hard on it, but Terrio worked a lot with Milazzo before last season. And the whole thing was be patient, let the ball travel more so you get more information and go up the middle and the other way. Look at everywhere Milazzo hits the ball. It's up the middle and the other way. It's a very selfless team-based approach. I know I'm not hitting a double in the gap. I know I'm not hitting the ball over the fence. Let me hit it where they aren't, get on base and keep the merry-go-round going. Yes. Travinsky and Milazzo not fast enough to round third. Stephen Fry, fans think baseball players are machines playing a simulated game. People are human, especially freshmen. They were forced in there due to upperclassmen not producing. I mean, if you want to talk about missing, and I'm not trying to call anybody out, but you expected more from Mac Bingham. But the reality is Mac Bingham hit 350 in the Pac-12, and he's a 250 hitter in the SEC. That's an illustration of the difference between the leagues. That was a veteran guy who hit 350 in the Pac-12. You bring him into the SEC, and he's a 250 hitter. So that's why the whole point about Kling could work in reverse. If Kling's a 220 hitter in the SEC and he goes and plays in the American, is he a 320 hitter? If so, well, then he shows scouts he can hit. Chris Dupree, have to start knocking the ball out the freaking park. I don't even care if they knock it out the park, Chris. I'll settle for singles and doubles. You don't have to live and die by the homer. I would have settled for a single yesterday with the bases loaded and 1 outs instead of rolling into a double play. Let's see. Rick, Matt Jirius, Finn broadcast say Braswell pitched as a freshman. When he was at South Carolina, he was a two-way guy, but I don't think he's pitched since then, and I don't think it was a lot of innings. Joel, arguably about the worst outfield. Okay, Jesus Christ! I mean, we're 6 minutes away from LSU playing a game that could end their season. We're arguing about their outfield. Put Brown and Kling and Pearson in the outfield, and you have a great defensive outfield. Brown and Kling are both plus defenders with plus speed. Jesus Christ, Joel, what are we doing here, Joel? I mean, I love you, man. I know. What are we? Is that the argument? You want to have that argument here 5 minutes before first pitch of this game? Ariane Williams, Matt, what do you make of Jay's lineup today? I don't have a problem with it. I mean, I probably would have just left well enough alone. I think sometimes when you feel like if something's not going well, you have to change something. Maybe it works. Jay's an offensive guy. I think he's obviously got a scouting report on Wicker, who's going to pitch today for Wake. And so I think he knows what he's doing. Alternating lefty-righty, you get Tommy White and Milam at the top of the lineup. So you get them, obviously, potentially an extra at-bat when your lineup turns over instead of waiting to get to Milam lower in the order. I mean, I get what he's doing. Gulf South 1, are you telling Yoshino Kling is transferring? I don't know if he is. I think that's something that's been discussed. And if I'm hearing that chatter, you better know it's something he's considering. I don't know if it will. And then two, doesn't Jake Brown pitch too? Brown does pitch, and they'll have to make a decision if he pitches next year, and I don't know if he will. If I were Jake Brown, I would not pitch. But, I mean, I would go be the everyday center fielder and hit 320 is what I would do. But I'm not Jake Brown, and I don't know what he wants to do. But I don't know that Kling is transferring. What I'm telling you is Kling, I mean, in a game that could decide your season, Gulf South, Jake Brown, the freshman, is starting in center field, not Paxton Kling. I mean, what does that tell you? I mean, Jay knows where his upside is. And I believe Jake Brown's going to be your center fielder next year. So if that's the case and you're Paxton Kling, what do? Do you come back, try to win a job, play left field? What if Pearson comes back? I mean, Larson seems to have a spot solidified as well in the outfield. You know, I don't know. Pearson and Braswell, the hinge pieces that will make the difference between replacing 5. Hey, let's have this conversation when the season's over. I'm not saying they're very valid questions and comments, like they really are, but I don't know that this is the convo that people want to have right now. So, Barry, when does Coach Wright join the coaching staff? You know, Barry, they did discuss it a few years ago. And there was the biggest hangup was Ryan never graduated from LSU. So they talked about him joining the staff like as a grad assistant. Now Ryan, especially at the time, he was coaching Houston and his girls are in high school, and it was like the travel and all the time away, and that wasn't what he's interested. He's like, look, if I go to the park and just hit with the guys every day, and I don't have to be at every game and travel, like he would do that. And there was a role for him to do that, but as a grad assistant, he would have had to be back enrolled in school. And he was like, yeah, I'm not doing that. So, and I don't know that you're hiring him as like a full-time on-field assistant right now. Anyway, that may all get rectified. I'd love to see him do it. All right, 2 minutes, y'all. Please smash the like button, subscribe up to the channel, Facebook, like the Matt Moscona page, share the post. All right, Seth. Mike, good morning. Do you think someone else deserves a shot at DH? No. The only thing I would say you could do is you could DH Neal today to get another left-handed bat in the lineup instead of Travinski. But I'll say it again. If Travinski had gone 0 for 4 with 3 strikeouts yesterday, that would be one thing. He hit some balls hard. He mashed a ball at third base where the freshman third baseman, Gallagher, made the great play. So, no, and listen, man, a game to save your season. Travinski wearing number 8, your captain, potentially final game of his career. Like I'm rolling with that guy. David, yeah, it's on ESPN. Jacob, do you think Jake has a chance to pitch? I think he's got a chance to pitch. I don't know if he will. They'll have to make that decision this offseason. No, you're not wrong, Gulf South, for asking. You're not wrong at all. But I know it's been discussed. I don't know that that's decided. Right. I can't do a watch party, unfortunately, Rex. I can't do a watch party because of our LSU. It's a long thing with LSU and our rights and all that stuff. They included my personal social media in this, that they don't want me to do companion shows and whatever. So I'll honor that. Does Jones come back? Trip? I don't think so. I think Jones is going to be drafted. I think someone's going to pay him 7 figures, and I think he's going to sign as a draft eligible sophomore. Okay, it's all good. Thank you, Chris. Appreciate you, bro. You have to run the same lineup that got you live or die with them. All right, y'all. Yeah, it's 11. Let's bounce. As always, shout out to Brock, Baton Rouge Orthopedic Clinic, Parish Construction and Roofing. If you need an orthopedist, go to Brock. If you had hail, wind, rain, stuff falling on your roof, damage, parishbuilt.com, parishbuilt.com, parishbuilt.com. Parish is pinned in the chat. Y'all have an awesome day. Go Tigers. Let's hope we're doing a post game and previewing another game tonight. Peace.